These are the deepest celebrity confessions ever shared on Joe Rogan Podcast.
Episode 1411. Robert Downey Jr. discusses whether Tropic Thunder could be made today, comedy, blackface controversy, and artistic intent.
Do you think that you could do Tropic Thunder today? Would that be possible?
Oh, you could do it. And again, like Eddie, I look back to me, that movie to me was a circle back to my dad's movie called Putney Swope, which I highly recommend anyone who hasn't seen to see, about a black guy who takes over an ad agency in the 60s because everyone votes for him when the head of the company dies because they think no one else will. And it's about what happens when someone who is free-spirited takes over an essentially corrupt endeavor. And then he realizes and confronts his own corruption. But I remember I was probably 2 or 3 when that was being shot and when it came out, and it was so a part of my upbringing, and I just remembered some of the folks that were around my dad at that time. And so when Ben called and said, hey, I'm doing this thing, and I think maybe Sean Penn had passed on it or something like that, possibly wisely. And I thought, yeah, I'll do that, and I'll do that after Iron Man. And then I started thinking, this is a terrible idea. Wait a minute. And then I thought, well, hold on, dude. Get real here. Where is your heart? And my heart is, I get to be black for a summer in my mind. So there's something in it for me. The other thing is I get to hold up to nature the insane self-involved hypocrisy of artists and what they think they're allowed to do on occasion. Just my opinion. And also Ben, who is a masterful artist and director, probably the closest thing to a Charlie Chaplin that I've experienced in my lifetime. He writes, he directs, he acts. If you had seen him when he was directing this movie, you would have been like, I'm watching David Lean, I'm watching Chaplin, I'm watching Coppola. He knew exactly what the vision for this was. He executed it. It was impossible to not have it be an offensive nightmare of a movie. And 90% of my black friends are like, dude, that was great.
What about the other 10%?
I can't disagree with them, but I know where my heart was.
Yeah.
And I think that it's never an excuse to do something that is out of place and not of its time. But to me, it was just it was a blasting cap on. And by the way, I think White Chicks came out pretty soon after that.
Yeah.
And I was like, I love that. Yeah. I was like, that was great.
Yeah.
So,
Well, it might be the last time we see that. Unless things change. It seems like no one can really – I don't think you could do blackface anymore. I mean, we almost lost the Prime Minister of Canada because he did brownface. He pretended to be Saudi Arabian, right?
Yeah.
He did Arabian Nights in high school or something like that.
It's an interesting and necessary meditation on where is the pendulum, why is the pendulum right, where is the pendulum maybe cutting a little into what could be perceived as heart in the right place, openness of its time. But again, I mean, there's a morality clause here on this planet, and it's a big price to pay. And I think having a moral psychology is job one. So sometimes you just got to go, I effed up. Again, not in my defense, but Tropic Thunder was about how wrong that is.
Yes.
So I take exception.
No, I think you could do it today. I think you could. I think it could be done today. There would be so much outrage, but there would also be people cheering. And if we boiled down all the bullshit and got to the actual result of what the film did, it's fucking hilarious. To this day, I watched it again about a year and a half ago. It's a great movie. It's a great, fun movie. Yep. I mean, it's ridiculous, over the top, hilarious. And it worked, and your portrayal. I mean, it wasn't egregious. It was necessary. It made sense. All of it fit. There's square pegs and square holes.
I was just thinking square. I don't know why I was thinking. Oh, I was thinking about Sarah Jessica Parker on the ride over here. Isn't that crazy? I think I drove by. Is it that Warner Park near here?
Yeah.
I think she went to school over there when she was doing a show. Anyway, interesting.
Yeah, it worked, but it might be the last time we'll ever see a studio take a chance on a guy wearing blackface and the prolific use of the word retard. Those are two things.
And by the way, that's Ben. The funny thing too was all the heat got deflected to Ben and Simple Jack.
Yeah,
that's what people were pissed off about, and I go, "Whew, great." But you never know when it's going to be your time in the barrel. You know, sometimes life just says, you know what, and I've been on both sides of that coin. Sometimes life just says, you're a symbol now.
Did you have anybody that was telling you not to do it? Were there a bunch of agents or anyone who was like...
My mother was horrified.
Really?
Bobby, I am telling you, I have a bad feeling about this. I was like, yeah, me too, Mom. But anyway, how are we?
First day on set when they're putting the makeup on you, how hard are you sweating?
There's been a couple times. I was all the night before, and we were on Kauai, and I was like, well, here we go. And I was just running. I think I had 6 lines that day. But I knew that there was going to be choppers, there was going to be squib fire, there was going to be choreography, there was going to be, it was going to be cacophonous. And the only thing that mattered to me, again, what's my action? My action as an actor in this movie is to know what I'm doing, even if what I'm doing is insane. So I ran those 6 or 8 lines I had 1,000 times. Lying in bed over and 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 over again. So the next day, I was free to enjoy myself and not be struggling to wonder what it was I was supposed to be doing. And then that's what it is. It was just, it was one little mosaic after the next. And by the end of it, I had some pride that I had made it through. Forget that it was, blackface. It was special effects makeup. Day after day after day after day after day after day after day, except for the off times when I would have my bleached hair and blue contacts in my eyes, or other characters, and it was just it was a piece of work I was doing, and I cared about doing it as professionally and as honestly as I could.
So when you memorize lines, that's an interesting thing that you said, that you were free to do it. Like, when you memorize lines, is there ever a part, like when you're acting, where you have to think, like, okay, what am I supposed to say next, and how much does that get in the way?
Look, I have a very broad band of tolerances. I don't care if the people I'm with happen to not know what they're doing or don't know their lines or stepping on my lines or whatever, or want to change their lines and my lines. And it's always a different thing. It's like reading the room. It's like, if I was a fighter, you go into the octagon and they go, you ready? You ready? And you go, and then you just
do it.
You go in. But so I've had it where I would try to be off book before everyone else. I would get it down to an acronym. So if there was 1,000 words I had to remember, I would just remember the first letter of each, and I would put it on a piece of poster board, and then I would stand away from it, not as far as you and your archery setup over there, but far enough away to where I can see it but kind of can't see it, back when my vision was a little more clear. And I would just run it and run it and run it. When I did the first Sherlock, we were rewriting it so much, and I would have pages and pages of stuff. I was like, give me an earwig. And it helped me with my accent. And then I started getting into like, what's so great? I can finish work, go home, hang out with my kids, or do whatever I want to do, go train. And in the morning, they can change it all they want. I don't have to trip unless it's some monologue that you want to really be committed to that's not going to shift. I just go like that. So
you'd put one of those little earpieces in and they would feed you the lines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now I've kind of gone as far as you can go with that, and I'll probably go back to a new method or a new version of the old method.
So it's basically improvisational. Like you, in the moment, like you decide with whatever preparation you're going to do for each role, how you're going to do it, whether you're going to go and memorize everything obsessively or whether you're just going to be a little bit more loose and free with it.
Yes. It depends on the script, too. Like Tropic Thunder, Justin Theroux wrote that script with Ben. It was a really good script. I mean, my missus, who next to my mother, was, probably more so, was the opinion I was really waiting on. And she was reading in the kitchen, laughing her ass off. She goes, "This is so wrong. This is so wrong." And she goes, "And it's so true.
Yeah.
If you do this right, you're doing something it's about a bunch of self-involved idiots somehow or other becoming heroes." And she goes, "I love that. If that's what it stays, then it's going to be good." And so, like, for instance, the, never go full
you don't
blah, blah,
want
blah.
to say it.
No. By the way, I guarantee you, I'm getting out of here. My stock is not plummeting when I leave here. I'm not smoking dope. I'm not doing a musk. I'm going to do everything right.
His stock went up the next day.
All right.
Drop 6, went up 9.
With who?
I don't know. I don't understand it.
I love that you now have it. Now it's a piece of art.
Yeah. With 6% in the smoke.
God bless his heart. Yeah, it just changes.
Episode number 1480. Kevin Hart explains why Dave Chappelle is the GOAT. Freedom, courage, and comedy at its highest level. Robert Downey Jr. reveals Marvel's creative chaos, improvisation, trust, and how Iron Man was born.
It just changes. And I also know that I don't really know that much, and it's different every time anyway. But I really like when you have a loose concept of what you're doing. There's certain parts that aren't going to change much, and the rest you discover. So the first Iron Man, I mean, John and I and the writers, or John and I, we would write. You write a line, I'll write a line, and then we were literally watching the puppies be born as we did it. Frustrating for people who, not Gwyneth, because she can look at a piece of paper and then go, "Okay, I get it," and she's got it all memorized. She's amazing. But what's for the highest good? Sometimes it's very self-indulgent to come in and hand out new pages or say, "Oh, I'm not saying that, so feed me that." You know what I mean? You need an environment of respect. But I like discovering things.
How much of acting is managing those weird relationships that you have with these other people that you're acting with? Like you've made some references to people changing other people's lines and not being prepared. I got out of acting for that very that was the thing that I went from a world of stand-up comedy, which are just a bunch of crazy people, to actors, which are a bunch of crazy people but in a different way.
Yep.
And the managing all the different characters and all the different personalities, how hard is that? That seems like that could really get in the way.
Well, yeah, sure it can. And it's like a thumbprint. Every time you're on a new project, it's a completely different, fingerprint. You never know what you're going to get. And sometimes projects seem blessed, and sometimes you could say they're cursed. But again, my Susan Downey Esquire was talking about this yesterday. She goes, "It's the only thing you can't overcome as a creative producer on a big movie or anything is, in principle, no matter what happens, you can fix it. Oh, we lost the light. Oh, the thunder, the weather came in. Okay, he got sick. Oh, she's pregnant. Okay, great. Let's change the costume." You can't overcome personalities.
Yeah, the relationships that people have with each other. Do you meet up before you commit to a role? Do you ever say, "I want to meet Captain America and find out what the fuck that guy's really like"?
By the way, I mean, I love that you think I'd have the authority. Did you cast this guy? All right, let me get a taste of him. I'll tell you if he can stick around.
I'm really interested in doing that, but can we all have a group dinner or something like that?
Yeah.
Can I meet these guys?
My
crazy?
MO is always, let's mind meld, let's get together, let's work weekends, let's spend time together, because you can't replace that familiarity, but so you have to try to build it. And sometimes it happens very naturally. Like, I adore Chris Evans. I can't even tell you why. He's a Boston guy. He's technically such a brilliant actor, but he also doesn't take himself seriously. He's flaky, but he's the first guy you would want to have your back if something went down. And yet we're different enough where I feel like by being who we are and then both having those characters, we were able to I think I thought Civil War was a special moment in the arc of the Marvel films about turning one against the other and what it meant, and so sometimes you just get lucky. As a matter of fact, the whole Marvel universe, possibly without exception, just happens to be a really well what do you call that when you put together something curated group of souls.
Well, it's interesting because people take superhero movies seriously now. Like now superhero movies are films that happen to be about superheroes. Whereas, for the longest time, superhero movies were bullshit. The TV shows were kind of clunky. They were campy. It was Batman with the silly pants on and Robin. And
I bought it.
Everything was bang, boom, bang. Remember, you'd see the big boom in front of the screen?
And yet, who was in the first Superman? Brando.
Yes, right.
So there was always a seed of an attempt to legitimize something that was otherwise two-dimensional.
Yeah, Superman was probably the first film that really did that, right? And then Batman.
Yeah.
And then the Batman series. But again, how many goddamn Batmans have there been?
Right. I want to see what Pattinson does.
Oh, that's right. He's going to be Batman now.
I like that guy.
How many Spider-Mans have there been? That's the most, right?
3.
Only 3?
Yeah.
And 3 Hulks, right? At least. 1, 2, 3. Not counting the TV show. Yeah.
Counting the TV show.
4, counting the TV show.
Oh, you're right.
Eric Bana.
You're right.
Yeah. Norton.
Yep.
Mark Ruffalo, who I think he's my favorite.
Oh, he was just born for it.
Yeah, it's perfect. You believe him.
Yeah. And again, his whole thing was, what's my action? Is like, I got an anger problem.
How do you guys manage this giant CGI thing? Like, how does that work? Like, when you're on the set. That seems like one of the weirdest parts about acting in some of those Avenger films is how much of it is actually digital.
Yeah, you just kind of get used to it. I'll digress. I did a movie with Richard Linklater called A Scanner Darkly, and it was rotoscoped. So
Great fucking movie.
I love that movie. Love him. And Keanu and I and Woody and Winona, and it was this cool thing. And we would shoot these scenes, and he would say, "Oh, you can just leave your body mic on the outside because we're just painting the whole thing." So that rotoscoping is a great metaphor for essentially what the Marvel movies became, when sometimes you would even go and I'm supposed to come in and throw something, and it was off camera, but everything else was great. Oh, we'll just move your arm later. And you go, wow. So you never want to rest on your laurels and say, but after a certain while I was like, why am I wearing this football suit? Just put some dots on my shoulders so I can move more freely. And they'd be like, all right. I go, honestly, what are you really using all this stuff I'm wearing for? They go, for reference. I go, great. So I'll wear it for one take, and then I'll take it off, and I'll relax a little bit. But then other people would be like, or Bettany would be like, I'm stuck in this fucking thing, Don. It was painted purple. So everybody got to join in on the joys and the miseries of the technical challenge of doing it. And speaking of Ruffalo, by the end, because he's Smart Hulk, he literally, they were just making him big wherever he was, and they'd put a little, a piece of PVC with a big Hulk head up about 5 feet over where his head was, and he was just there in a green suit. So in a tracking suit with his package out, and he'd be like, let me just at least tie a little sarong around my, come on guys, whatever, And so I think Mark went about as far out into the ionosphere of CG as you can.
I didn't get the whole smart Hulk thing. I didn't get how he figured that out. It wasn't really Hulk is supposed to be Hulk.
Right.
It's supposed to be the alter. It's like one you can control, one is the genius scientist.
Exactly.
And one is the beast.
But after so many times, and again, this is the genius of the people who break and shape stories over there. Feige and his team, is they go, oh, he's Hulk, and then he's not Hulk, he's Hulk, it's a big battle, oh, he's so conflicted. What if he could meet himself in the middle? And then what corner have we painted ourselves in by having him meet himself in the middle? Because then you can't ever, if that doesn't work, you can't go back to the way it was. You've done it, or you can go back to the way it was. So I just think that the real genius of the Marvel creative team is and the Russo brothers who did the last few Avengers, Infinity War, and Endgame, is they go, we love writing ourselves into a corner. We love it because then it activates all of those. How do we get out of purgatory juices? And then you get the next right idea.
Now, when you guys sit down and when you first receive a script for one of these things, do they consult with you? Do they discuss this with you? Do they just lay it out and say, this is the character arc? How do you feel about this? What do you think?
Yeah, but it's changed over time. I think if you're one of the folks who has their standalone movies, like Scarlett has Black Widow coming out, I think you take a bit of a different tack in how much meaningful. I think the legal phrase for actors and studios is meaningful consultation, not script approval, because then anybody could hold a studio hostage because I don't approve this $30 million that you're trying to spend right now. So your schedule's fine.
When you say I don't approve, I picture a bathrobe and I picture fine china and teacups. That's what I picture. I don't approve. And then just storming off.
I've had my moments too because I'm so passionate about story. But again, after more seat time with the same people and new people coming in and getting a pretty brutal education on what kind of process these movies require, you just start trusting more that they're thinking on your behalf. And also, little things are easy to change. Big things become a inconvenience to the higher good. And at what point do you want to pull the air brake on something where the train's, already leaving the station?
Well, I would imagine it would be a fine line that they want the actor to be comfortable with the character, and they want maybe some feedback would be beneficial. But they have a path, a vision that they've created.
Yeah.
And they would like to see you somehow or another at least morph slightly to get on this path.
Yeah. Yeah, and by the way, after I had my second round of kids with Susan, I became both artistically, I had a bit of a renaissance when I was doing the third Iron Man. And then after that, too, I was like, well, now I'm going to do this Avengers, and there's so many moving parts, and it's so difficult just to get all these schedules to coincide and get everyone together that I'm not going to be like, I'm not feeling it. So, again, it's that thing. It's sometimes, what do they say, faster alone, further together? Sometimes you can only think about further because you got to get downfield. Other times you're thinking, hey, this is my moment to run, and I need a little help and a little approval, and I need a little leeway. But that's any creative endeavor.
I would imagine when you're involved in something that's so epic, when it's actually over, it probably almost seems surreal because the production is so massive. There's so many moving pieces. There's so many special effects, so many things that you have to sort of visualize while you're doing it. And then after it's all over, you're done. And what is a big Avengers movie? How many months are you involved in this?
Well, I mean, it could be some part of 18 months to 2 years, depending on how far out you are, and then 4 to 6 months of principal photography, and then additional photography, and then post. And then I always include promotion, from from soup to nuts, I think is the phrase.
Soup to nuts?
Yeah.
How does that work?
That's a Joel Silver phrase, one of my great friends, and probably one of the greatest big movie producers of all time. We did the Sherlocks with him. He did the Matrix series. My missus was running his company for 10 years. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, which is, I think, in some ways the best film I've ever done, wound up being a calling card. It came out and it bombed, but Jon Favreau saw it, and he said, this guy could do an action movie. And so that wound up being my calling card into the Marvel universe.
Episode number 1554. Kanye West explains why his mind is misunderstood, creativity mistaken for chaos, and truth sounds crazy today.
I know I just went on a riff right there, but the thing is, these
But isn't that what
Yeah.
you do though? Like
yeah.
one of the things that
Yeah.
when anybody ever talks
Yeah.
about you to me, they say, well, he's all over the place. And I say, I think that he's got a different power source. Like if you look at the way everybody interfaces with the world, if there's a universal power, most people have like a 20-watt charger. The way I describe you, I say, I think that motherfucker's got like a 150-watt charger, and these ideas are just coming at him. So you do go on these rants that sometimes need to be dissected into individual things, but overall, you're incredibly productive. So my question is, why do people think there's something wrong with you?
Yeah.
But I legitimately, like, you've been medicated. They've put you away, right? They've brought you to how did that happen?
Well, I'll say these two things. I think very three-dimensionally. I don't think in the black and white lines that I've been programmed to think in. And I think in full color. So when I talk, I have to describe a thought in 5 ways. You know, we enjoy food that has multiple seasoning in it. We enjoy music that has multiple instruments. So when I talk, it's not a rant, it's a symphony of ideas. And when you collect them, you say, oh, these are all these things that connect. Yeah, you know, I just tell the truth. And telling the truth is crazy in a world full of lies. That's simply it.
But none of the things you're saying are crazy. None of the things you said are crazy. It's fascinating the way you think, because I can see that you're thinking in all these different layers and you're looking at things from all these different perspectives, and they all come together out of your mouth in like a tornado of ideas. Now, if someone wants to just have a conversation with you back and forth, I could see where they would go, this guy's crazy. He just doesn't stop. He's just ranting. But what I'm seeing is just you're a very thorough thinker. You're thinking at things independently, but you're thinking of things in a massive perspective. Now, who convinced you that that's bad? Is it have you always been this way, or were you less? Was it less manageable before? Did you have issues with it before?
Yeah, I believe before I found Christ and gave my life to God, I would try to lean on my own understanding, and that's the universe is like a black hole of information.
What do you mean by your own understanding?
Meaning, when people ask Einstein, said, you're the smartest person, what would you like to know? Einstein's response was, I'd like to understand the mind of God. Meaning God is all-knowing, and we can only know or see. And for me as a visionary, we can only know or see what God allows us to see and what he feels we're ready to see and understand, to maximize what our Maslow's hierarchy of need chart is. You know, what sets our dopamines, what sets our serotonins off, what makes us feel good. Basically, like, you know, we did a good deed, and it's like it was somehow where, you know, just doing a beat for a famous person, or just doing a beat for a local dope rapper really meant a lot to me when I was 14 years old. Doing a beat for just anyone famous that had a major record deal was a lot to me at age 19. Me being able to, you know, put out my own music and put my own out was a lot to me at age 24. Meaning, as I grow, God sets new stages in the game of life for me that you get your satisfaction. Like Maslow's hierarchy of need is like our satisfaction chart. What makes us feel whole and accomplished as a human being. So as I go through these different levels, there's times where I would use confidence when I knew what I was doing, and I would use arrogance when I didn't know what I was doing. But I'd rather use arrogance than to let someone diminish my idea of myself, because that is what keeps us going. Hope actually keeps us alive. Anybody you ask, most people, it's like, do you want tomorrow to come? And they say yes. They have hope for it. But I went from having confidence and arrogance to having faith. And faith is the opposite of fear. And that created this fearless approach that I have. And that's what has made me the fearless leader that I am, that I've like crystallized into the leader that my mom always knew I would be when kids followed me in preschool, the leader that people saw when we changed the sound of music. The leader when we changed the sneaker industry. The leader in what we're doing with farming and with shelters. When I was building, the homeless shelters a couple years ago, and visiting parks and then going to Skid Row and understanding the dynamics and empathizing with what actual mental health issues are. Not someone, telling their truth or being exhausted and then being labeled as such. Like, I am.
So that's what you felt happened to you. Like, you were telling your truth and you were exhausted and they labeled you as mentally unhealthy.
Yes, absolutely.
Am I saying this right? That what happened with you is you feel like maybe, or you probably feel like, that having this higher calling and recognizing this higher power was the glue that kept your thoughts together. It kept your mind straight, and it kept you on a righteous path. So instead of being scattered with all these crazy thoughts and being exhausted and being labeled manic, right? Like, we talked before, and you were saying that they had you on medication, but the medication fucked with your creativity. It fucked with all kinds of things.
Or it blocked my ability to channel what God wanted me to do. But we're all on medication right now. Did you use toothpaste with fluoride today? It blocks your pineal gland. And they put children on it, and we put our kids on it. It's inside the deodorants that we use. It's all these things to create like a disconnect to God, to serve that. It's like, are you serving man? Or are you serving the one and only master?
But what did they tell you? When they said that they were going to put you on medication, what did they put you on, and what did they tell you?
One of my favorite things that they did is they put me on this medication that made me gain a lot of weight. And I said, I'm not going to take this. And they said, okay, we got a medication you can take where you won't gain weight. And this shows you they were trying to kill a superhero, slowly trying to kill genius, trying to make me not feel like I could run for president, make me not feel like I can go be born in Atlanta, grow up on the south side of Chicago, go into music, go and win all these Grammys, change the sound of music and the look of stage performances, all that, and then still end up in $53 million of debt. What music industry has people going to the exact debt of the house that they think they're going to buy after the tour is over. And it's strategized. There's criminals all over everyone's almost accounts in the music industry. It's not a safe place. It's a treacherous place. So
filled with money. As soon as things are filled with money, they're filled with people that are trying to take advantage of other people.
It's filled with money. Bees come to honey.
Exactly. Yeah. So they put you on this shit because you were exhausted. What did they put you on? I can research. I'm actually forgetting the exact medication that they had. But what did it do to you?
The main thing that it did is it destroyed my confidence. It made me this shell of who I really am. It like grayed over my eyes. It made me. It made the Mustang not buck anymore.
They sedated you.
Yes.
Yeah. And what was the thought process behind it? When you talked to a doctor about this, what did they tell you was wrong with you?
They told me I was bipolar. And I remember going on TMZ and saying, slavery is a choice. And they medicated me for saying that, for having that opinion and saying it out loud. But as I put those contracts up, I'm saying, this is a choice. As you
didn't mean people being abducted and brought into slavery and put into chains was a choice. What you were talking about is people making decisions that would enslave them financially and enslave their life.
Yeah.
But it was taken out of context, and it was taken in the least charitable way, and they decided to try to say, look at crazy Kanye, look at this shit he's saying.
Yeah.
And then they medicate you.
Yes. And the media is always taking anything out of context that isn't a part of the overall narrative.
Yeah.
That because there's, like Hollywood and media has controlled so much of the narrative, and then you had Silicon Valley, and that's what's so beautiful about one of my heroes, Steve Jobs, because there wouldn't be a Silicon Valley, or Silicon Valley wouldn't be what it is today if Steve Jobs didn't make information accessible like this, which is still a bit controlled, but it feels like Twitter is the safest, freest mass platform to communicate on. And, it's like they mess with Jack because of that,
Well, it's still censored. There's a lot of issues now, but I think that's internal. I think that's people that are working there that are woke, that want to stop people from saying certain things. And there's a lot of struggles with that today. And it's unfortunate, because I do agree that it's an unbelievable way to get ideas out there.
Yeah.
But it's a new thing, and it's mismanaged by the people that use it often. They don't know what they're doing or why they're doing it.
Yeah. Every version of anything that man has made will be flawed.
Episode number 1531. Miley Cyrus opens up about drugs, sobriety, fame pressure, and learning balance the hard way.
But it had to be really odd to be working that much and be a young girl.
The balance it trained me to have is something that I don't think you are going to get taught any other way besides jumping in the deep end of the pool and hoping you know how to swim. That's the only way. There was no way I could have prepared for the amount of balance I would have to learn to kind of teeter, because, at one point, again, it went from, it was school, then it went from, how much weed can I actually smoke and still play a teenage superstar on the Disney Channel? and then like
What's the answer to that question?
More than you would fucking think. I remember one time when, and I don't smoke anymore, and I'm sober.
How long have you been sober
but
for?
I've been sober since pretty much the vocal surgery kind of did it for me, because I just learned so much about the effects, which, again, you're just not taught. It's not really the drinking, it's staying up all night. Once you have your drink, you end up smoking. And I've become the face of a lot of things, kind of against my will, I guess, from my opinions. When you're someone in my position, your opinion becomes your identity, and it also becomes kind of almost like you kind of become this like preacher, or you become this, they don't really let you just always have your own opinion. So I've decided to start telling people, I live my own lifestyle. Alcohol was never my problem. There was other things that I end up, I like to go up. So I now just avoid really drinking, because I like to wake up at 110%. But it's never really been my problem, and I could see myself having a drink of celebration in the future. But I get so fucking hungover now that I'm like, why would I celebrate with like just feeling like a volcano's erupted in my brain, So it's really just a personal preference, but it's definitely not anything that I promote in. I think it's a lifestyle I think everyone should experiment. It's a good time, and you learn a lot of things about yourself and the people around you. But now I'm watching, I have younger siblings, and they're going through that, and I don't know how my mom did it with me, because it's scary.
Yeah, I think if we're going to acknowledge the fact that all these things exist, cocaine exists, pills exist, marijuana exists, we should teach people how to do it right.
Yeah.
You're leaving children. It's the same thing with sex, right?
Yeah.
We leave children to the information that they're going to get is from other kids.
Yeah.
And if you're learning about sex from another 14-year-old, or you're learning about coke from a 14-year-old, that's not good.
Yeah.
Like we play this game with children where we try to pretend that they live in a movie.
All right, well, listen to this. It's actually funny you bring this up, because I had the idea this week, not that I really have time to do this in the near future, but I would like to at some point in my life. I want to do my own children's book series of realistic children's stories, because I don't like the idea that we teach them that this is sunshine world and everyone walks on a rainbow and everyone's equal, and you need to say, like, that's not, what are you going to do about it? That's not true. What are you going to do about it? And I think there's a way to not terrify children of life, even though I go in and out of periods where I think life is really overwhelmingly terrifying. And that's coming from my position. And my position, I tell myself all the time, if you're not enjoying this life, honey, you got it coming in the next one, because I better fucking love this life. It's the best one. I couldn't imagine being in a different body and having a different experience.
It's an awesome life if you do it the right way.
It's an awesome life. And I didn't hurt myself beyond repair in my experiences. I survived, and I don't even mean heart still beating survival. I mean, I have a lot of people that love me around. I didn't kick all the people that had my best interest at heart out. That's where you die. Is you kick everyone that says, "Hey, are you okay?" You know, out. No, of course I'm okay. You don't trust me, get the fuck out.
Right.
And so now that I have people that I've had in my life, I feel that I have people in my life that I've known for 15, 20 years, and not many people in my position get to say that. My parents are awesome. My dad's loopy as hell, but I love him so much.
Episode number 1141. Theo Vaughn tells a funny cocaine story and talks about getting sober.
Yeah. Dude, and cocaine. Oh, go back to that vest story, man. So here's what happened. So I would do some cocaine at the house and put on these different vests.
How many did you buy again?
I don't know. I spent too much on them, but I would probably say the priciest one I had was probably about $210. Nice.
Damn.
Yeah. And so I would get fucked up and put these vests on and put on sunglasses and no like Buffalo Bill shit, but at least partying by myself, you know. And one time I was making a smoothie, you know, because I got like a new, I don't know what kind of blender it is, but it was pretty nice. And I was making like a nice smoothie, and I'm fucking coked up, I'm partying, you know, I'm living high on the hog. Got these 2 vests on maybe, right? And I thought I heard something outside, right? Which is kind of weird to even think of when you have a blender going, right? So I leave out of my apartment to go in the hallway, lock myself out with the blender going. 2:30 in the morning, coked up out of my brain, right? Now I have to go to my landlord, dude, who lives right down the hall.
Oh, no.
And tell him like, hey, man.
2:30 in the morning? I got locked out, and the blender's on, son.
Going.
Oh, my God, he must have hated you.
Oh, the blender shorts out and smoke happens. The fire alarm starts going off in the building right as I'm at his door knocking, right?
Oh, my God.
So now he's pissed, and he's like, what's going on? And I didn't know what to say. I told him that I was throwing a late Christmas party, dude. It was fucking end of January.
How old were you at the time?
Huh? Oh, this is 2.5 years ago. So I was 35. Bro, so he comes back to my apartment, right? He's fucking pissed. He unlocks the door. There's nobody in there.
Oh, my God.
I'm like, man, but it was fun.
Oh, my God.
That was fun.
How long did you live there for?
I still live there.
Whoa.
Yeah, we've patched. I mean, we've kind of, you know, like I've caught him doing some things. So I think we're all even.
How long have you been sober for?
2 years. In 2 weeks, it'll be 2 years.
What was the big thing where you like, I got to get my shit together?
Dude, I was going on Opie and Jim when Opie and Jim Norton had a radio show at Sirius, and it was actually on. It's on Ari's that show that he had. This Is Not Happening, and I ended up doing coke all night, driving a taxi. I was in a taxi. The driver, this dude Luigi, got me an escort. I didn't want an escort. We're doing cocaine in like Harlem or something, North Harlem.
You and the cab driver doing coke.
And I was taking a cab from a party to my hotel. And so we end up off on this other excursion. Next thing you know, I'm driving the taxi. He's in the back with the hooker. It's 5:30 in the morning, and I got to be on the radio station at, 6:30 or something. So I get to the radio, and I can't even talk. And Daryl Strawberry's the other guest, right? Who's the baseball player who also had drug problem. But he's like 13 years sober. And so it was this weird moment where like I thought I was kind of cool, but then here's a man who like I'd always in my head maybe somewhere thought, oh, that guy's like a cokehead. But then here he is, eloquent, put together, successful. And here I am, I can't even talk. And I'm with 2 men that I admire, Opie and Jim Norton, just to be honored to be on the show, And so I was like, this is, I'm not making choices. Like there's some unevenness here,
And so what did you do after that? Join a 12-step program?
Join a 12-step program, yeah. And then, so I've been in that then. Since then, it's helped me out,
Episode number 2388. Lionel Richie reveals Michael Jackson's insane fame, so extreme, fans literally stole his Episode 883. After a near-death experience, Kevin Smith explains why death isn't terrifying, just the natural end of a lifetime.
During these overwhelming periods of anxiety and fear and terror and injury, and when your body is thinking like, hey man, this might be it, you know, and I think that's probably what a lot of these near-death experiences are, is that people are experiencing what you would call an endogenous psychedelic experience. That your brain is releasing these potent chemicals that it absolutely has inside of it. Your brain has a ton of different, you know, things like dimethyltryptamine and different psychedelic chemicals it's capable of producing, as well as like melatonin, dopamine, serotonin, adrenaline, cortisol. There's a fucking storm of shit going on in your brain.
And in a moment like near death,
in a moment like death, like
jacks it all
it
out
probably
into your system.
pumps it through your fucking neurons, and everything's firing, and you're seeing things that aren't there, and you're talking to dead relatives, and you're imagining the pearly gates, and your imagination is on 10, and you're just seeing everything. That's the reductionist perspective. The hopeful, optimistic, spiritual woo-woo perspective is this is a chemical gateway, and you're seeing through the door of the other side. And then when they decide it's not your time yet, you're sucked back to where you lie, and then you're allowed to resume this life because you have more work to do. And that's the perspective that a lot of people feel when they come out of those experiences, right? They feel like I have more work to do. I can't stop now.
My mom, years ago, God, it was like 10 years ago, more than that even, maybe 15 years ago at this point, had a heart attack, or a heart episode, rather. My dad died of a heart attack, but my mom was on the table and they were putting a stent into her heart, into her artery. And she was sitting there chit-chatting while they were doing the surgery. I guess she was on a local more so than anything else. And she was joking around with the doctor. She's like, "Here, gotta hurry up, doc, because I got to pick up my mom for the," and then went out.
Whoa.
And so she died for a minute and a half, clinically fucking dead. They had to fucking try to restart the heart. So I was like, what happened? What was it? And she said, you know, she didn't describe, like, I saw the bright lights and I saw people and blah, blah, blah. She said I was floating. And I was like, floating up? She goes, no, floating on my back. It's like, okay, well, you were on your back in the hospital. Do you think that's what it was? She's like, I don't know, but this is what I remember. Every iota of responsibility I ever felt in my life was gone. She's like, I felt free. Like I felt instantly lighter. And just as I was heading in a direction, that's when like they pulled her back. So she'd been dead for like a minute and a half, her heart had stopped. So I was like, all right, you've been in this best of all possible worlds for, you know, fucking 60 plus years. Now you've seen a glimpse of the other side, which is better. And my mom said, the other side. And I said, what? You were there for like a minute and change. Why? And she said, I was completely fucking free. Like, that was it. I didn't know this one. I don't have to care for this one. I don't have to make sure this is taken care of. I don't have to feed the cat. She was like, it was bliss. She's like, and if that's what happens, then I look forward to that again. So when I was having my shit 3 months ago, and the doctor was like, you got a 20% chance of living, I was sitting there going through all the fucking shit in my head about like, all right, well, this is it. You've spent your life with your head up your ass, you know, fucking trying to figure out who you are. Go ahead, look at your head and heart. This is it. This is the big moment. Like, what are your thoughts? What's going through? And I'm such a chicken shit in life. I assumed that I'd be like the guy who was like, I'll fucking suck your dick to stay in this life. Because I know this life and I don't know what happens afterwards and stuff. So I thought I'd be begging for help from God or something like that. But I was like, I made dogma. I'm sure Jesus would be like, go to hell, fuck you, buddy Christ my ass. So instead of doing the religious thing, I started thinking about just the journey itself. I was like, well, if the journey's ending, what are your thoughts? Just like when they held up the phone, they were like, do you want to talk to your wife? And I was like, no, of course I did. But I didn't want to because I was like, I know in my heart of hearts, if I speak to my wife right now, I'm going to be in that 20%. I'm going to die. I'm going to be in the 80%. I'm going to fucking drop dead because that's
the intensity of it.
not even like, oh my God, it's gonna kill me. It just, the way they were so like, your wife is on the phone. Do you want to speak to her right now? Was very leading. And, you know, they're professionals and these cats deal with life and death every day. And this was my first experience with it. So what I got out of it was,
You're probably going to die.
Was what they felt.
Yeah.
And it's still, I was in this state of like, I didn't even realize I was having a heart attack. And so I remember looking at the phone and being like, if I answer it, if I talk to Jennifer, that's going to be it. I'm not going to leave this room. So I was like, I'm going to play the odds. If I don't talk to Jennifer, maybe there's some part of me that's like, look, I like talking to Jennifer. We've been together fucking 20 years. I better enjoy talking to Jennifer. Maybe if I put this phone call off, you know, then I'll get to talk to Jennifer when it's all fucking done. So I said to the dude, I was like, you know what? Tell her I'll call her back. And the guy goes, seriously? And I was like, yeah. And I saw him talking and got off the phone. I was like, what'd she say? And he goes, she was fucking pissed, dude. And I was like, well, I'm dealing with my own shit right now. So I was laying there on the table and I was like going through my life and I was more grateful than anything else. I wasn't scared anymore. That was the thing. That was the thing that I love to communicate. I spent my whole life terrified of fucking dying. And when I was as closest to it as I ever knew I was, and for all I know, I was closer someplace, but like I was cognizant and told by a professional, this is fucking risky. I was just I was grateful more than anything else. I was like, what a fucking journey. Like, yeah, and I'm 47 and it seems short, but fucking like, you gotta admit you did more than fucking most people get to do. And maybe that's why it happened at an early age, because you weren't gonna get the rest of this time and shit like that. But like, I wasn't mad. I wasn't like, fucking why, this is unfair. I remembered like, there's a issue of Sandman, which I absolutely love, Neil Gaiman's comic book series back in the day. And in like after the first story arc, we meet his sister. The main character is Dream, Morpheus, the character of Dream. He's part of the Endless, and he's got other siblings, Delirium, Desire. One of his siblings is Death, and they represent Death in the comic book. You know, you're used to seeing the fucking Scythe and the fucking Grim Reaper and shit. She's the little emo girl, goth girl, wearing an ankh around her neck and shit like that. It was written in the 90s. And they don't tell you right away that she's Death. As you're reading the issue, you're like, oh shit, I think she's meant to be Death. She's ferrying souls over to the other side. So you see a baby pass and she's holding the baby, and then there's the refrain is like, I hear the sound of her wings, and that's taking this soul over to the next place as she's sitting around talking to her brother. And so she eventually gets into a room with this older guy who's like, who are you? And you know, she's like, I'm here for you. You know who I am. And he's like, that's it? He's like, oh my God, I did all these things. I worked my fingers to the bone, and what did I get? This is it. What did I get? And she says, like a line that when I read it when I was 18, it was powerful. But when I was laying on the fucking table, it was constantly going through my head and made it all easier, made me kind of at peace with the idea of dying. There's this line she says to the guy, she goes, you got what everybody gets, you got a lifetime. And as I was laying there, I was like, oh my God, I got a lifetime. Like that's what it was. Nothing more, nothing fucking less. And I did some shit in it, and now it's going to stop, and people are going to go on without you, and that's not terrible. Like I thought I'd be fucking desperate to live, and instead I had that weird, like, I understood what my mother said for the first time. Because I was laying there, I was like, oh my God, like I made it to the end. Like, this is it. This is the finish line. And it had been something that I was terrified of ever getting to. But then when really kind of faced with it, I was like, oh, like I'm done. Like, I'm not scared that I'm done. I'm actually kind of relieved that I'm done. And like, you know, fucking like, I didn't get killed and I wasn't home invaded. A shark didn't eat me. All the things that like I'd been terrified of my entire life, like I don't have to think about anymore. I made it to the end, and it's kind of okay. So it's weird. My whole life I thought like, you know, I'd be scared to death, and most people, we all are. We're all terrified of fucking dying because we don't know. But that's the closest I ever came, and I wasn't scared. Like suddenly the fear just went away and it seemed logical. Like, of course it's over. Like things end. And I didn't want to die. Didn't have a death wish, but I was like, if it's done, it's done. And count your blessings and be happy, and don't be a bitch. Like if the fucking ferryman shows up tonight don't fucking hold out. Don't be the last asshole at the party going, no. Like, just fucking pay the ferryman, get on a boat and go. We'll see what's next and stuff. And then ultimately, Leidenheim did a good job, and I fucking wound up living and stuff. So I know this much. I got to read a bunch of shit like after I nearly died, and it was all nice. People wrote very nice things about me and shit. And I expected, you know, as the creature of the internet, that some people would be like, I wish he had fucking died, fuck him to death and shit. I wish he'd stay silent. But generally, it was like very nice things. People were kind of positive and stuff. So I was like, fuck, man, like, you know, I didn't want to die, but like if I had, like, that would have been okay. Now I'm back at it. You know what I'm saying? Like now, until it ends, like I've got to, you know, and it's kind of easy. As long as I don't wake up with a fucking dead girl or a live boy, I don't think like they'll fucking rake me over the coals when I die in the future and shit like that. But it felt weird to be so close to the completion and having something that normally terrifies you suddenly be like, oh, it's okay. Like, I don't, if you walked up and put a gun in my face, I'm sure I'd feel threatened, but like I kind of lost my fear of death. I'm not like death defying. I won't go out and do anything differently. But that dark cloud that kind of kills any good time, the moment you start thinking about like
the fear and anxiety,
you're going to die one day. Like,
yeah,
it's gone. And all of a sudden I'm like, yeah, I'm going to die one day. And it's going to be awesome. But not for the reasons that you think I'm saying it's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome because I finish. Like, it's nice to finish things. We know how good it feels in life to complete something. And that's the biggest fucking thing in life you'll ever complete is your journey. So I didn't walk away going like, I got to do more. Like, I got to fucking live life to the fullest. I just got to keep doing what I've been doing. Like, living life the way I enjoy it, trying to do things. Sometimes they work, sometimes they fail and shit. Sometimes people are on your side. Sometimes people are like, you fucking blow. And just do that fucking time. Have good conversations in the process, meet interesting people, hear new points of view and shit like that. And keep at it. But it's nothing to be afraid of. Like, awesome. I don't want to get eaten by a cat, don't get me wrong. Like, and I guarantee you, I would not be philosophical as a fucking big cat was crushing my, you know, I'd be like, Jesus, no! I'd find prayer quick. But death is no longer something, I'm not looking for it, and I certainly won't put myself in harm's way, but it doesn't preoccupy me anymore. I've been there, and it's not the thing that I was led to believe it was. Like, it's not the ultimate fear come true. It's not the Grim Reaper. There's a sense, at least in my case, and again, I didn't have a painful heart attack. I'm sure people have heart attacks where they feel like their fucking body's being ripped and cleaved in twain. But it wasn't that. It wasn't scary. It was okay.
Well, listen, man, I'm glad you lived because I love you and you're one of my favorite people
to
talk to. And we don't talk very often, but when we do, I always love it.
And after the heart attack, I couldn't wait to. We started texting and be like, "Bro, you gotta come in." I was like, "Definitely."
I didn't want to ask quick. I wanted to give you some time.
What's the protocol on that sort of shit?
That's so gross. Like, it's so morbid. Listen, man, you might not make it. Do you think you can get in here?
Is Tuesday good?
Yeah.
But no, I is happy to be here and stuff as we all are happy to be above ground. It's better than below ground.
I'm happy to hear your perspective too.
I wanted to pass that on because you're a seeker as well. And
I think it means a lot to a lot of people that are listening too, because that's what everyone's scared of, right?
Oh, it blows, dude.
Everyone's scared of the ride being over.
That's what we think. We're trained to think that way. Every fucking movie, every book you read, every song is about like how it'll suck when it's over, and
that fear can keep you from enjoying it while you're living it
and trying cool things and stuff like that. And I don't mean like putting yourself in harm's way. Like, let's shoot a movie with real lions. Like, that's been done. Don't try it. You can watch the fucking video. But the things where you're like, I'd really like to try it, like, it fucking won't work, or oh, there's maybe time later. That's the one thing I did walk away from it. Like, time, you're fucking lucky for every goddamn second.
Every goddamn second.
So use it wisely.
And I think if you can just think that way, like today's a borrowed day. Mm-hmm. You know, sometimes you have to trick yourself into like finding more enthusiasm. You have to trick yourself to be pumped up about stuff. But if you can really do that and exercise those patterns in your brain and get them normal, there's people that have tricked themselves into enjoying all sorts of things that they know are good for them. They just fire up those fucking chemicals, and today we're going to just go out there and attack this day because this is a gift. This isn't supposed to be here. We got one.
I think that all the time now, honestly. That's like an underlying that goes under almost every thought I have. And it doesn't happen constantly, but it literally happens about 10 times a week. You'll be doing something, you'll be heading somewhere, you'll be eating something, fucking whatever the fuck, fucking having a conversation, and then you'll be like, this isn't supposed to be happening right now. Technically, based on the odds, I was supposed to die back on that fucking table. So suddenly you're like, I'm playing on house money.
House money,
You know what I'm saying? Live a house money life, kids.
Live a house money life, kids. That should be a fucking t-shirt.
Episode 2240. Quentin Tarantino explains why movies endure in memory, while most TV fades away after watching.
To a movie, real story that stays with me for the rest of my life.
Episode number 1225. Joe Rogan opens up about how having kids reshapes fear, love, responsibility, and worldview forever.
That seems fun having kids.
Style podcast.
Is it were you nervous at first to have them?
Yes. Yeah. Nervous to be vulnerable. Nervous to love something that much. Nervous to have that kind of responsibility. Nervous about all those things.
Yeah. I get that.
Changes you like nothing else.
But did you feel like the changes would be for like that you won't like the changes, and then you did like them? Like, did you have reservations?
Well, I didn't have a relationship with my father growing up, so for me, it was very, very important that I did whatever I had to do to have a relationship with them, to be as present as I can be, to whoever I was before I had them, to evolve, to get better. Like it's a very, when you have kids, it's a very weird thing what happens to you, because you all of a sudden you're not alone anymore. You don't just have responsibility, like you have a dog you have to feed or a plant. You have a little person.
Yeah.
And you don't want to fuck up that little person. You're like, shit. And it feels overwhelming. And then the world feels so dangerous. Change the view of the world.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
God, there's so much threat. There's so much out there that could hurt
Stop
or
signs,
harm.
planes.
Well, stories, too. You read stories about terrible people and terrible things that happen.
Oh, and then you're like, fuck it, I don't have to worry about this just happening to me. I have to worry about this happening to somebody else, too.
Yeah, and your little son or your little daughter, you know?
Yeah. That's wild, bro.
Yeah, it's a crazy world. And you think of people differently because you think of people as a project that developed instead of being in a static state.
That's interesting. Do you think that something emotionally happens to you, like at a level that,
like a DNA level? Yeah.
Yeah.
The love you have, like Dave Chappelle said this best. He goes, not only did it increase my love, it increased my capacity for love. That's a great way of putting it. I would agree 100%. It increases your capacity. You become at least me, I became a nicer person. But I've seen it not work too. I've seen people that just reject it. I've seen men and women that just don't want to be parents.
Yeah.
I've seen women move away from their kids. They don't want to take care of their kids. I've seen men abandon their families. They just don't want to do it. It's crazy. And I don't know if it's a mental health issue or if it's just some people just can't take it.
Yeah.
Whatever. Like there's like attitudes, and this is not just about raising children. It's about pretty much anything difficult in life. There's some people that have a very low quit point. Very low. They just quit. Everything they quit. It gets tough, quit. There's a lot of people that just quit. And when you have a little, like say if you have a little Theo in front of you and you think about your life and your childhood and like how important it is for you to raise this little person and give him love and teach him about life and protect him, keep him safe and give him good lessons in life.
Yeah.
It just changes everything, man. It changes everything. It changes everything. But it also is overwhelming. It's overwhelming. People get serious anxiety when they have kids. They start thinking about the responsibility and the weight of it all. Or they don't. Some people just fucking take pills and lay on the couch and let their kids suck fucking carpet glass and fucking stick forks into the wall sockets and play with knives. People just don't. Some people don't give a fuck. Or some people are dumb. That's a thing too, man. People don't want to say this, but there's folks out there that just aren't equipped for life.
Oh.
I really believe that. I think
Decum the dumb, brother. That's what I'm saying. Take the semen out of them. You know what I'm saying? Like at a certain point.
But here's the problem: you're dumb compared to physicists. So who's to judge, and who's to say that this person who's really stupid couldn't have a brilliant child? That happens too, man. A lot of times, brilliant people come out of stupid.
They need
people.
adversity.
Man, who knows what they need? But it's like it's not our job to decide who's stupid and who's not, because it gets slippery.
Oh yeah.
You could get boxed into that stupid corner in a different metric if you're hanging around with a bunch of people from Stanford, and they're looking. It's Theo Vaughn's in the neighborhood, and they know there's 10 people in the neighborhood, but only 9 can survive. There's only resources for 9 people.
They're gonna get rid of me probably.
Yeah, depends on how good you are at digging ditches.
Oh, it could be better than them at that though.
Yeah.
So suddenly I have a different skill.
I don't know. It's have you thought about having kids?
Yeah, I think about it a lot more like as I get a little bit older. And the thing for me is just like about being brave, I think, and just being willing to have my life just be totally different and be okay with that.
Yeah.
And just being like willing to know that I will be okay in that space, you know? I think it's hard. It's like I'm just starting to manage the space that I'm in, like as a regular person. And then to get to that point where now it's like, fuck, you have another ball, you have 2 balls in the air, you know, a wife and a kid or.
Episode number 1480. Kevin Hart reveals how mindset, discipline, and